right, okay, let's get started. Hello for the third time. This is so weird. I feel like I've been with you guys all day, which I have. I mean, we've been live together now for what, like 2.5, 3 hours, something like that. Also, I did not mess up my scheduling. The last about 30 minutes ago, I was like, I'll be back in an hour and a half. And then I looked at the scheduling. I was like, no, I will not be back. I mean, I will be here in an hour and a half, but we're not starting in an hour and a half. We're starting right now. So hopefully anybody that listened to that information stuck around for that awesome crossover with Voodoo Val and Cody Bear. I was jamming some peanut butter sandwich down my throat, so I only got to catch part of it. But hello, if this is your first time here, welcome to the show. This is Offset. This is the show that happens when Adobe Live goes on a little break and they get to go on vacation and have some nice work-life balance, and I get to swoop in and I get to talk to really cool artists. We've had a few episodes already this week that if you want to check out the replays, they're all available here on Behance and on YouTube. If you're over on YouTube, make sure you hop on over to Behance. Behance is where all of the chat's going to be happening. Thank you to our wonderful mod, Annika Agarwal, who is also going to be our guest tomorrow. She's going to be helping us start off our day with some InDesign stuff. But today she is here helping leverage chat and facilitate conversation over on Behance. This is my cat Roscoe. There's no stopping him. He might be in the screen every now and then, so I apologize for that. And yeah, if you want to join the conversation, you have questions for Lars, comments for Lars, please go ahead, throw them in the chat. I will go ahead and make sure that he sees them by vocalizing whatever questions and comments you guys have while we go over his work. We'll be live for the next 2 hours. Yep, that's right, 2 hours. So we've got plenty of time to hang out. If you've got something to do, you can always go and go to a meeting or something, come back later, and we'll still be here. And it's just a good, nice art hangout, nice and chill, not high stakes. But Lars has got a lot to show us, and we have a bunch of our different segments that we have, and I'm excited about it. Today we have Lars Gal. He is a graphic designer that I found through Reels, I believe, on Instagram. And he has a wonderful presence here on Behance, which is really cool. And he has a wonderful presence on Instagram that really inspires me to be better about Reels. And I also learned things about Adobe products through his Reels, which is really cool. He goes by Dutchley Designs. And I'm sure he'll talk about that as well. Today, he's got a really cool real life project that he's going to be walking us through. And then we'll also be talking about some of his inspirations and some of a look behind the curtain to see what makes his work his work. But that's a lot of front end talk to just basically give a guy an introduction who doesn't necessarily need an introduction, because if you've seen his stuff, it's absolutely wonderful. And I'm really happy that he agreed to come on the show. So without further ado, please give him a warm welcome. Welcome, Lars. Hey, Lars,
Hello.
how's it going?
I'm doing good, thank you. Thanks,
Yeah.
first of all, for having me. It's an honor to be here. So
Yeah, of course.
yeah,
Like I said, I'm a fan of your work. I get to handpick the people that I asked to come on here. And so when I saw your stuff, I was like, gotta talk to that guy. And so it's always really exciting when they get back to me and they say yes, and you said yes. So thank you for doing that.
yeah,
For
awesome.
people at home that want a more authentic description of you and your work outside of what I can just say, do you want to give us a little bit of an elevator pitch, a little bit of talk of yourself as an artist and as a person?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Lars, also called Lars Gal, and I do my part-time business called Dutch Designs next to my study, and it's originally started back in 2020 when COVID happened. Then they started to get real. I had plenty of time in between. I was like, yeah, what do I want to do? And I was like looking at other stuff, and I already had like a passion for design and logos, whatever, back when I was like 17, 18. I was diving into Photoshop, Illustrator, etc., and trying experimenting with things. And then already did like I gamed a lot. I did a lot of gaming logos for friends, etc., and that turned out into illustrative things and etc. So yeah, that's a bit where it began, and officially it began already in my childhood when with my grandpa. because he was drawing lines on the paper, and then he asked me to finish something what you can recognize with your brain. So how do you make connections with real life things? For example, when you put a line and then it's curved and you can make a dolphin out of it, for example. So that's how things started out, and it
Yeah,
turned
how it
into
kind of
a book.
manifested. It's the
Yeah.
weird silver lining of COVID. We had a lot of time to do self reflection and find our passions and what we really want to do. And when we were doing our pre interview, I was so surprised to hear that design wasn't the first thing that was always on your mind as far as a profession. And you have made such a name for yourself, and you've created so many cool things that we'll be looking at in a second for show us your work. Which actually, I mean, we don't even have to wait for that. We can just probably just hop right in. Let's look at your work. Let's look at your work. So Lars has a really great Behance presence. He has a really good job of being able to show his breadth of work and his wide range while also still making all of his thumbnails and stuff really exciting. Like I said, I also found his stuff through Reels, which are all on Instagram. You can find him at Dutchley Designs, where he does a really good job at staying updated. I mean, look at us. Here we are right there with our Adobe Live. But if you go into his Reels, even actually on here, there will be several different tools and objects that work within the Adobe ecosystem, like the radial repeat for Illustrator. And he does a really good job at one, telling us what not to do, and two, telling us how to do it and learn things in very quick, small snippets. Which is only a portion of his work. He also, has these wonderful branding products as well, and he does a really great job at writing them all up. But I will also let you speak to it.
Yeah, so this actually is a fictional project what I already like designed in 2020 or 21, I don't know. And it's called Tropulus. It's a combination of Tropulus coffee, and the whole idea behind it is that I always wanted to. The fun part is I always wanted to design something with a palm tree or like tropic thing for on a T-shirt, whatever. And then when I was designing in Illustrator, I was like, yeah, I want to. I like coffee. I'm addicted to coffee. I want to combine something with that idea. So I jumped into Illustrator and got some inspiration from Behance and other sites, and then I came to this mark, which eventually I was playing with a curved rectangle, and then I saw like, oh, I can maybe put these as leaves like from the palm tree, and then add like a droplet, which can also resemble like a sea turtle, as you can see here. So yeah, and then everything came together with colors. I was trying and blending colors together, and
Yeah, I think that one, the branding itself is phenomenal. It's great, but even more so the documentation and the way that you walk through things. You have such a skill for. I like how you're showing kind of the curves that you have here with the Bezier curves, and you have the guide points. You have the same thing with some of the typefaces here, and then the fact that it stands for more than just what it seems on the surface level with the sea turtle and the coffee extraction and the palm tree all feel very genuine, and they all feel like they really elevate the brand in a way off of such a simple symbol, which is cool.
yeah.
But this was, you said this was one that you did, and like you said, 2021, right?
Yeah, 2021, I think. I
Um,
already like did it ago, and then I had no time to make a whole Beyonce presentation of it, because I was like, yeah, I want something, because I like to present things in a nice way. I think that's one of the things I like to do. And I was like, yeah, I got so much stuff in Illustrate, and if you see my artboards and whatever, it's a total mess. And then from the total mess, then things get cohesive and organized. So yeah,
yeah, this all feels very organized and very well documented.
there's a
Annika's
lot
in the
of
chat saying she loves the color palette. How did you come to the colors that you chose?
Yeah, so the colors come from the inspiration that I got from the nature, for example, the sand, or from the ocean, the blue. I wanted to combine like the sand from the beach, so the tropic vibe. The I think it's more like a turquoise, dark turquoise, a dark shade of blue, and actually it was originally from my brand color, like which I use, and then I change something to it, and it has yeah, a reference to the ocean for the sea turtle, the green sea turtle, also called the honu in Hawaii. And then yeah, what is it called? The olive, or like uh, brown greenish color,
Yeah.
that's derived from the palm trees, etc. So
Now, when you're selecting those colors, do you kind of just open up the color swatch and then kind of just drag around until you get to a spot that you want that you feel matches the other colors, or is there anything
y-
you do
yeah,
um,
so
there?
what I do some of the times, I pick up a mood board and extract colors from that, or sometimes I just go on a blanket. I put a rectangle, then I go in the color menu. I select just like two starting colors, and then I blend them together with the blend tool and Illustrator. And then from that, I go make other standard colors, like basic colors, for example, a blue, a yellow, and a green, and then blend in between those, and a brownish one, and then you can have different, yeah,
Now, when you're
unique.
building these mood boards, are you just building them in like an artboard in like Photoshop, or do you use like a service where you save images?
No, I just like put I copy images from Behance or Google or Pinterest, whatever. I put them in Illustrator, and then yeah, make a cohesive mood board, and then with the color picker tool from Illustrator, I pick some spots, and then yeah.
Oh, by the way, you're getting lots of compliments about your presentation in the chat. People seem really happy to see your work so properly documented. And Fodley is saying that he is surprised that it's not featured because it's such an awesome and beautiful post,
Awesome.
which is a great compliment.
Showing it.
The next one that we have that's on your profile as well is this logo and marks volume 2 that you have. And I think that uh, you can see some follow throughs with the idea of like this kind of having this like the same as the coffee bean kind of idea.
Yeah.
And you can see some thrower points, but it also feels very unique. And I love how in this one specifically, you're playing with negative space right next to really saturated, like full solid colors.
Yeah.
Um, where
Actually, this
did this ingrain come from?
Yeah, so actually, this is a bit of fun. I was in 2021 also working on a project for a client. It was for a direct primary care business, and I had so much concepts and sketches for this client. And yeah, at a certain time, I had this like leaf thingy, and I rotated it, and then I like to add symmetry, so I duplicated it on the right. And the client didn't like it, and I first had it in a heart shape. So actually, the leaves you see here were in a heart shape, and the roots, yeah, on the bottom of the mark, I put them additionally later on, so not for that client. So, and then I was like, oh, maybe it's like a tree. It's coming, it's growing, and it's like planting something, and something is growing out of it. And actually, the leaves, what you said first with the negative space, um, everything was like negative space, like just with white fill. And then I realized, oh, maybe I can add some depth and just, yeah, put them in half and add some yeah, shade
Yeah,
to it.
some like contrast and some weight to it,
Yeah.
which I think does really well. It feels very balanced, but there's a lot of depth to the idea of like it doesn't. It's 2D obviously, but it
Mhm.
feels like it has more to it, which is nice. You have CSC commodities, which you
Yeah,
have this cool crossover of a C and an S, kind of all in the same.
that might be my one of my favorite projects I've ever done. Yeah,
You
it
think
was
so?
for, yeah, for me, yeah, because it was for an oil derivative company, and I wanted something with like flame and oil, and but then it was a really mess, and was so detailed in my Illustrator. I had like a flame that went through another flame, and first I had no fill to it. I had only lines, and it was really distracted to see the whole concept. And then at a certain time, I duplicated, turned it 180 degrees, and put it into each other. And then I was like, oh, holy, it's like a C and a S and a C. And then I was like,
So you kind of stumbled into it,
yeah,
into the solution that you have. We already have a question over from YouTube already, and people that are excited about your work. They say, "Do you have any merchandise?"
no.
No, not yet.
No,
Where's
it's planned for the future, because for merchandise, the funny part is I'm already working on my own brand, like rebrand for my own logo for so long. I think it's almost like 1.5 years or so. because in the beginning when COVID happened, I had to get a logo, so I was sitting with my girlfriend on the on the bench and just designing something in maybe half an hour, I don't know. And I don't show people often that logo. It's really ugly, I think. And yeah, so I'm still working on that. And if that's fine, I got rebranded myself, then I think I will go into the merch and yeah, do
Yeah.
that.
Do you know when? So you have a rebrand coming up?
Yeah, I'm working on it. So I have the logo mark already for myself.
Mhm.
I'm still yeah, struggling with type combination and what I especially want to, yeah, convey to people, what will, yeah, be unique to my business. So it's
I
a
mean, you
bit of
are
a
your own biggest critic, so obviously
yeah.
it's kind of hard. Those things are so extended, but I'm sure it's going to be great, and we're excited to see it. Obviously, next up of ones that you already have kind of established, you have this yacht cruise company, which feels very fast. It feels almost like a speedboat.
Yeah,
Very minimal information, but you immediately can already tell that it's a boat.
yeah.
Um, and this is a really cool one.
Yeah, it was also a rejected concept for a client, and in the end, it turned out that we had to stop the project due to several reasons. So this was one of the concepts that got rejected. I don't want to convey like a bit of motion, speed with like the curves on the ends. And it was eventually for an ferries company, and I just saw this concept, and I was like, maybe I can also make a whole new brand identity from it, but I don't have the time to to finish that one.
Right.
So I came up with this name and this concept.
Oh, it turned out nice.
Yeah.
Um, we have
Oh,
Shy Monkey, which is a book publisher, which is fun because you kind of have the idea of like it's like glasses, kind of, right?
yeah, definitely.
Uh,
Yeah,
but
there's a
it
lot of
also could
elements
just
in it.
be forming a monkey's face at the same time, which is
Yeah.
nice. How did you approach the type for this one? Because the Y is so unique in kind of how it interacts with the other letters.
Yeah, so when I presented it to the client, they were blown away with the type actually, because first I had like a standard type. I think it was Gotham, the font or typeface, and then I was like, how can I make it cohesive with the mark? So I saw this glasses element in the middle, and I saw this yeah, what is it called, bending from the glasses in the bottom,
Hmm.
and I wanted to add it in the type. So then I just copied parts of the logo mark I created first, and then rotated it 180 degrees and put it on the Y. The Y was I think it's like this, or yeah, I don't know. And I just used the shape builder to an Illustrator, put it on top of the original font, and yeah, hold Alt, and then you can delete some parts of it, and you get the Y.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you feel like you use the shape builder a lot when you're kind of
yeah, it's
approaching
my
these big
favorite tool.
logos?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's your
it's
go-to.
my favorite tool. Yeah,
I keep talking about it. I keep have to like get more into it because I'm still so heavily reliant on the Pathfinder tool for things that could be done faster with the shape builder tool. Um, and you know, it's that constant struggle of like old dog new tricks sort of thing.
yeah. Fun fact: I don't use the Pathfinder tool that much. It's
Really?
for me. It's still confused. Like, what is when you merge something together? How can you delete parts of it? Yeah,
Yeah, it
I
just
dive
clicks
into.
for me for some reason. I've heard that a lot of times actually. People are like, "Yeah, I never know what exactly is going to happen when I click the buttons," but like it clicks for me, and for whatever reason, I just my brain works to always kind of reference it. Um, this one you kind of have an optical illusion going on of it kind of like spinning in space, which is neat. Um,
Yeah.
but then is it for like cargo ships, like the cargo boxes?
Yeah, it was officially also for an whole new brand identity project, and then this one was deviated from another concept, and I was playing with it, and I wanted these construction blocks like you can also see it in negative space, the a container, and then it's wrapped around the container itself.
Right.
But it didn't work out, and due to reasons again, the client didn't like it, and we stopped it. So
No, but I love how you put in the forefront the things that you really feel passionate about and you want to bring forward. Because we're always talking about when you're building out your portfolio, you want to really focus on the things that you feel passionate about. Because if you put forth the things that you think that people just want to see, then they're going to ask you to do those things even though you don't want to do them. So
yeah,
it's
exactly.
really cool that you're able to kind of pull what you like out of these back and forths with clients and then put them at the forefront, which is nice.
Yeah.
Um, And then, yeah, you have a bunch of through here. Do you have like I know you said that one of the top ones was your favorite. Do you have another favorite from this selection of logos that you have?
Uh, yeah, I think also this one, the last one, my bubble, is for psychology practice clinic. But also
Hmm.
CC commodities, what I talked about, is my favorite. And can you scroll up a little? I can't recall.
Oh yeah, sure.
Up. Yeah, this one, Feedly. I also like this one. So it was also like a rejected concept from the one of my clients. It was from the same in the same document for the first one from Ingrain,
Hmm.
and then I wanted to do with leaves because one of the principles from that brand was they want to have optimize health and through plant-based nutrition and etc etc. So I wanted to incorporate like natural leaves etc. Then I had a lot of leaves, like tons of leaves in my artboard and Illustrator. Then I came
Yeah.
up with this one.
No, it is interesting because it's like such a universal shape, but being able to have identity to it is something that's so important because
Yeah,
obviously it is the foundation of a lot of different companies. And so I think that especially with this, with the pairing of the type next to it, I think has a unique brand voice. I really like the G that you have going on there. Is that something that you modified from a typeface?
I think this one I modified the bottom of the G. I think it was first detached and then I connected it, and I think I increased the thickness of the curve on the bottom, so it matched with the bottom of the leaf that goes into the circle, that filled part.
I mean, great choice for it, because it adds, like, a weight to the right-hand side of visual interest that helps counteract the giant circle on the left,
Yeah,
um, which is a cool choice. I also wanna take a point to also I know I kind of alluded to it a little bit, but the idea of these different reels that you have going on with different, instructional information that you have, um, where did this come from? How did you get into reels? Was this all a kind of a COVID response?
actually not, because in the end of 2020, Instagram released Reels, and I think I got the option really late. And when I posted projects like fictional projects on my Instagram, there were some people DMing me like, "How do you make that deboss effect with textures? How do you put it in a mockup, whatever?" And then I was like, "Yeah, I got so many questions. So why don't I combine it with Reels?" And so that's why where I started it with Reels. I just I had subjects to film Reels because of people or followers that came to me like, "Oh, how do I do this? How do I do that?" Yeah, and then it all started from there, and I was doing reels consistently. Like in the beginning I had to upload 2 or 3 reels in a week to just get in that flow, etc., and it took really long to actually gain traffic. In the beginning was I was like, yeah, for who am I filming, because nobody was seeing it. And then eventually you have consistency and people will see it. People will also have that in mind, oh, he's posting that, so maybe there are more tips coming, etc. And that's why I also put like follow me for more in the end, because it also
Yeah,
increases
and, like, building that library of being able to go, like, "This isn't just a one-off, this is something else
yeah.
that is part of a larger collection."
Hmm.
Um, and then so, yeah, I mean, we were talking about this actually on the last stream, and also Annika and I were talking about it yesterday. You, just handhold the camera, right? And you just kinda film the screen from what you have, right?
Yeah, so actually the funny part is people always ask me how do I film this. So it's just with my mobile here. It's
Mhm.
from there's a logo from the Chainsmokers, and I'm a fan of them. So I just like yeah, when someone has to film me, you see how dumb I'm filming. I'm like this, and then to my screen like this, and
Right.
then lately I got this thingy. So this is actually how
Oh,
do you call it?
a gimbal or whatever?
Yeah, and then you can just put it in here, like you can clap this out and then put it
Oh,
on
it's also
the
tripod.
desk, whatever. A
Mhm.
tripod, yeah, sorry, a tripod. You can click it in and just film it, and then don't have to worry about that. But this thing I mostly use just for branding projects when I have to yeah, do a lot in Illustrator, and then I can in long runs I can just do my shortcuts, whatever. Because sometimes when I'm filming with this and I need to do a shortcut, I'm like with this finger, I'm on my keyboard and then holding it in an angle. So it's
Right. Yeah. It's like
really
not
hard.
the most flattering if you were to be recorded while you're recording it, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
um,
Yeah.
Annika wants to know if you would still recommend making reels now.
Definitely, I think the video content is a thing that gives you a lot of exposure and reach nowadays. Because also with if you have, for example, start a clothing brand and you want to sell t-shirts, whatever, then just show the process of how things get printed on the t-shirts, show reactions of people receiving them, because people will relate to you. They will see they see the whole process behind it and will think about, oh, maybe I also want that, and yeah, I think it's really engaging to yeah, people always want to watch something instead of like a static thingy.
And how do you come up with the different content that you want to produce for these reels? Are there just things that, like, when you're working on different projects, you kind of take notes as to like, this is something that I can highlight, or do you like have to sit down and be like, okay, I want to create 3 reels. What should I make them about?
Most of the times I'm working on a project and then it's, for example, with Pantone colors, I struggled a lot in the past, and then I was like, oh, so I do this. So then I just pick my phone and then film the reel, or when multiple things that I don't know come to mind and I see a solution, then I just pick my phone and film it directly. And sometimes when I don't have any clue what to film or whatever due to time, then I just go over on TikTok, Instagram. There are a lot of videos and take inspiration from there. So yeah,
Yeah. No, I mean, because it's yeah, just constant barraging of different content, and you can get different ideas and inspiration from different places.
yeah.
Would you ever think of setting up a TikTok account?
I actually have, but
Oh, you have?
the yeah, but I it's so hard to combine it because in the beginning I try to yeah, upload to Reels as well, but then I have to keep in mind that when I upload to Reels, I have to, yeah, have another time for TikTok to consistently post, and it's a bit, yeah, hard for me in my schedule to do that. But it's better to, I think, to upload on multiple platforms than
Mhm.
one. But now I already got a lot of big audience on Instagram, and if people want to go on TikTok, yeah, maybe in the future I can try to
But it's
build that
something
up.
else. Is another thing to add to it.
Yeah,
It's yeah.
because yeah, it's really hard to combine, I think.
Patriza is in the chat asking how you plan to make a mood board. I know we were talking about mood boards a little bit earlier, and you were pulling them from Google and Behance and what have you. Do you just kind of look for generic terms of things that remind you of the brand, or do you do a Q&A with different brands if you're going to be using them? Where do you start?
Yeah, so most of the times you just have a discovery call with the client, and we talk through things. What do you want? What do you want to achieve? What are your goals, etc. And then it's a bit of like, why do you have this? How do you want to achieve this? What do you want to do? And then after that, I have a brand questionnaire, and I just send it to the client, and they can fill in all the questions about the target audience, the competitor analysis, etc. You already know it. And then yeah, they fill it in, and after that is the actually the brainstorming and the research phase. And then within the brainstorm, I make a mind map. And with mind mapping, it's nice because you can let your brain make connections with keywords and words. So you train your brain to make connections, and you, for example, when you have an osteopath, you can write osteopath, and then what is related to that? Oh, bones, calcium, or like cracking, etc. And from there you continue to build what's in there. And then when you have these keywords and connections, you can actually combine ideas together. So that's, yeah, a bit of my mood board. Sometimes I have like, I always do mind mapping, and sometimes I add a mood board for, most of the times, for the color inspiration.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
interesting to kind of hear that process, especially with like the mind mapping, and being able to just kind of like jot down your thoughts in like multiple places rather than just like a straight up mood board. You're working off the questionnaire, you're working off the mind map, and then it finally gets you to the part of designing, which is then taking all those things and manifesting them into visual representations of all the information you've collected. But I think that maybe a lot of people skip that first part and just try to hop right in, and it seems overwhelming. But then by the
Yeah,
time you have all the information, I think that it works a lot easier if you do the grunt work at the beginning.
yeah.
Um,
I also think that when you for example, add a mood board, you know which way you want to go, and then when you discuss it with a client, then if you are on the same level, you know you can continue in the right direction. And I think it's a good way to yeah, go through the whole process of stepping in the right direction for upcoming brand, for example. Yeah.
right. Well, speaking of different approaches to things, I know that you have a lot of these tools of tricks of the trade here on your reels, and we have this segment on the show called "I Didn't Know That Was There." What? I didn't know that was there. So this is just a segment that we have that we like to highlight different pieces of information of programs that are part of your workflow that really help create new and exciting things. And I was wondering if there was something that you have recently discovered that has changed the way that you work.
Yeah. So one of the things that I recently discovered is actually within Illustrator, you go to Object and then Path, and then I didn't knew most of the times I used the grid tool, like the rectangular grid tool, and then I put offset path on lines to yeah, give a little of gutter in between lines.
Hmm.
But you can actually do it really easy, and that's when you go to object and path and then split into grid. So you can split any object into a grid and then manually adjust the amount of lines, the amount of vertical, horizontal lines, the amount of gutter, and it's really helpful. For example, for designing a business card or a poster layout, because you can have consistent, yeah, modular grid, for example, or layouts. It's
Would
really
you
easy.
would you actually be able to pull up like a box and just show us how you do that?
Yeah, sure.
Mhm. All right, I'll go ahead and I'll grab your screen here. And so you initially normally would go in and you would use rulers and what have you to build
Hmm.
out some sort of guide, right?
Yeah. So here you see I make a rectangle. Then you go to object here at the top and then path. And then you have here split into grid. And now what you can do is you can increase the yeah the number of rows. You have to add preview, otherwise you can see it. And then here columns. You can add the columns too. And then here you have the option called gutter. And when you increase the gutter, you will see the gaps in between the lines. And what you have to make sure is that you add guidelines. So I'm within the project I wanted to share later on. So the guidelines are, I think, in the middle of the artboard I have now in this Illustrator file, but normally you have to add guidelines and then your boundaries are closed, and then you can, yeah, I can just do it manually now, but if I hit OK now, if I select it and then use Shable tool, it doesn't work, of course, because there's no border here and here and here and here. So
Right.
now I have to put manually a line like this and here.
And now you said you would generically use this for something like you were creating in like a business card for some sort of like grid. I guess you mostly design using a grid and placing things in like a structural modular like situation.
Yeah, lately I do that, but what I mostly do is for Instagram post layouts. I just yeah, create these kind of rectangles in different forms and shapes and sizes, and then I put work that I created into them with a clipping mask, and then yeah, you have a nice overview. But lately I also try to yeah, do this on business cards layouts. It's really easy because you can have like consistent layout of different elements, for example with the type of email, telephone number, etc. The space in between each different segment yeah, is the same. So it's the spacing in between is everywhere the same. Otherwise what you have to do then for a business card, if this is your business card for example, you have to put like every time rectangles with this, and then you have to duplicate and etc, you know.
Right.
So
So it
it's,
speeds up the whole process
yeah,
for
it
you.
speeds up the whole process. So now I have to add guides or lines manually because of the guidelines, but I'm mostly done, and then you can see what I mean. Let me see. I think it works now. So now when you use Shapebuild tool, you hold Shift. Yeah, you hold Shift, and then you can create your own layout for mood boards or whatever. It's really easy. And then,
Wow, that's great. Um, it's funny. Fidel says that's one of the first things you learned in Illustrator class, and it's just like there are so many different approaches of learning Illustrator and Photoshop. And the reason why one of the segment actually came to be was because I went about 10 years in Photoshop without knowing that there was a selection tool to sample all layers. And I was like switching between layers and holding down shift and was hoping it didn't work out. And I remember like being in a college class and a teacher just said it offhand and my mind was blown. So I think everyone learns at different levels and they learn different things. So
yeah,
I mean, I learned this today, but it's also kind of always
cool.
exciting to hear when people know things right from the beginning. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
look
that's
at you, you're
really
leaps and bounds ahead of me already.
yeah, exactly.
um, but that actually is since we're already over in the document, there was
Yeah,
piece that you wanted to kind of explore, right?
yeah. So it's actually a whole new client project that I didn't revealed yet on my Instagram or whatever, and
Hmm.
also the client did not. I need to make sure that the line is gone. Okay. So the project is about like two people who came up with a business and they approached to me like, oh, we want a rebranding. They called Rami and Abir. They live in Australia, and they came up with a brand, and it's an upcoming remote bookkeeping company, and they offer services like managing accounts of transactions, preparing financial statements, etc. And they specialize in offering services that go beyond basic bookkeeping, performing financial data accurately, having strong relationship with the target clients, etc. So actually, the fun part is that they already came up with a name, and the name is called Levantial, and it's built up from the words financial and Levant. And now you are thinking, what does Levant mean? So the word Levant originates from the large area in the eastern Mediterranean region, and it includes Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, and Israel. And the Levant originally derives from the French word Levante, which means the rising sun in the east. So I already knew this information, and I thought it was really a nice combination of the name. It's
Yeah,
simple. It's people can easily recall it, etc.
it sounds prestigious, but it's
Yeah,
still like accessible.
yeah, exactly. So then I, like always, put a brand questionnaire and ask these questions. So their why is we believe in what we do. We believe in thinking creatively to find solutions to challenging businesses, finance today for tomorrow. How are they going to do that? By pioneering a remote service with products designed to be simple and user friendly. And yeah, their what is we remotely manage your finance so you don't have to. So that was really nice to know. And their mission and vision is that they aim to be the leaders in bookkeeping solutions for business for your business, and they want to bring simplicity to the business, administer finances, and inspire the future growth. So then, we go to their solution. What will be the best solution for them? And yeah, what they want is that they aim to do beyond what is expected to make a huge difference to their clients, and they seek to be invested in their clients and in success helping them to achieve better goals. And they want to put them on the path of future growth by being accurate, passionate, and running their business without paying any attention to bookkeeping when clients have to do that. So that is a bit of the background and what they want to achieve, so the direction. And then I
Now,
started
is
like,
this your formatting for your like for brand books of whenever you
yeah,
approach anything?
these are the pages. I just picked some pages from my final brand guidelines document.
And then you kind of just fill it out so that then you kind of have documentation and you're building that information that we were talking about when you're going through and building different like mood boards or whatever. You then
Yeah,
have everything kind of laid out for
yeah.
yourself.
Yeah, and also for the client, because in the end I provide them with manual guidance, whatever, and then they can easily go back and check. Oh, this is that. I stand for this, etc. So it's really handy for the client, but also for me because it's also I like to do presentations. So this is also the thing I love to do. It takes a lot of work to document everything, but when you have something clear and nicely stated, it's easy to for others to grasp
Yeah,
how
I
the
mean that's the big thing. I feel like then if you have strong passability with a brand so that there's clear understanding of brand guidelines, you're going to be so much more successful than something that's kind of just like made and not well um like explained, because you know, with brands, they work with so many different agencies and companies and designers. Whenever I work with someone and they're able to send me like a concise, strong brand book, I always feel like the work can always, you know, take less steps, because then we don't have to do that back and forth to figure out
Yeah,
what, you know, what it's supposed to look like, what's supposed to feel like, and why we're doing what we're doing.
yeah, exactly.
um
Yeah. So do you want me to continue to further
yeah,
in the
no,
report?
I'm loving this. This is great.
Okay.
If anybody has
Yeah.
any questions in the chat, by the way, feel free to go on and ask as we move along, and I'll highlight them.
So then I start with the mind map. So here, this is just a part of the mind map where what I explained before, and make connections to words. So I start with the name, and then from the questionnaire, I start with how does brand want to feel, some keywords from the brand or meanings like Levante, the rising sun, and what is their style, the target clients, and some values they want to have. So for Levant, I just started like, oh, what is related to Levant? I just researched, Googled, and then you have these kind of areas and the sun, the east, rising, etc. And for the
Well, I
style,
think it's interesting here. You have like you still are using the same typeface. It still feels very cohesive. And then you have these gestural line marks that are building up the mind map. Do you first start a mind map in like a sketchbook or on paper, or do you just go straight into this document, build it out, and then kind of put the lines in after you've kind of built it out?
so normally I start in a document and then put all the words that come to mind for me in a row, and then I try to organize them and place them in different sites, and then I just how do I say this? Make the mind map less with less words. So I have a lot of words, and then the words I think will yeah connect the most to the brand. I just keep them in here. So actually, what I have here with the brush thingy is just what I do after I started in a document with words and mind mapping. So this is just an overview. And here you have the style. So they want to be modern, elegant. They want to have a brand mark, a combo with logo type, and they want to be it casually. And then for what clients are they targeting? So they said like we want to target medical health industry, construction, agencies, manufacturers. So it's really broad. And then for the values, they want to be reliable and trustful. They want to convey a feeling of knowledgeable, that so people are well informed, integrity. The brand should be adaptable. They are approachable, and it should be resourceful. And for the overall feeling of the brand, they want to be accurate, professional, easy to talk to, inspire people with the future growth, and be passionate about what they do. So that's just a bit of the overview of this brand for mind mapping. And then I go in the next phase, and next phase actually sometimes with the mood board or not, make a color palette, color scheme. So most of the times when I do this for a client, I actually build two or three color palettes, and then for here I just picked the one which eventually was the final one that was chosen by both of us. So I liked it the most, and the client also liked it. So
Was this
especially,
also from color picking, like a mood board that you've created?
yeah. So I achieved images. No, actually, I just put like rectangles, and it was like I wanted to be purple, and for the luxury aspect, and this brown orange thingy for the sun, and then I played with blending modes with the white and this one, and then this came to mind. So here I just went in blanket with no images, and then picked the colors. Yeah,
Oh, wow, sick. I mean, that's more adventurous, but if it works, it
yeah,
works.
yeah.
It looks like it's nice.
And I'll
Hello, Terrell Brown to the chat. Good to see you guys. If you guys are over on YouTube, make sure you hop on over to Behance. We're just going through a mind map and like a brand exploration for a design piece that Lars is working on.
Yeah. So here we are with the color scheme part, and what I wanted to achieve with the colors is, yeah, the color is a really big part in branding, and people always recognize something just from the colors. So when I chose the purple, there's a bit of thinking behind it, because when you look at the color psychology or color meaning, etc., you have to get something that relates to the field or like the direction you want to go into. So I already knew I wanted to do something with purple, because purple, yeah, conveys a feeling of luxury, royalty, and it's really elegant when you combine it, for example, with gold. And it also, yeah, evokes a feeling of creativity and ambition. So after I had the primary color, I wanted to do something with the sun, because the Levant, what's in the brand name, means the rise of the sun, and I wanted to have something with the color of the sun, like combination with sand, yellow, brown, etc. And I decided to go with this one when I had it, and to combine it, I was like, oh, I can maybe just add that gold thingy into it to really convey a feeling of elegant, and that's why I came up with this one when I blend this color with the white one.
Mhm.
So
Now,
that
I
one,
know that you have, especially, I mean, we've already explored it already. You have so many different industries as part of your portfolio and clients that you've worked with. You're not necessarily like kind of funneled into the idea of like fashion or automobiles or, I know you had like oil on there, you had financials. When you're kind of starting and you're building these mood boards, do you also go on and look at the competitor analysis of like what other people in the same sector have for their colors when they're building out a logo?
yeah, definitely. That's one of the I think maybe biggest parts, because you can design anything you want, but if you design something and you don't look at what others have, yeah, how can you then stand out from yeah, from the crowd, for example? So
Yeah.
I always, when I do analysis and I just look into Google, type like the industry, whatever, I just look into what are all these companies, and what are they doing the same, and how can we make sure to make something that is not similar to that. And also from the brand questionnaire from the client, they sometimes always or sometimes provide me with already brand companies, like these are our top competitors, these are our less competitors, so I already know which way I have to go, so that's really helpful.
Yeah, 100%. Especially because you want to be able to blend in, but also stand out. It's like this catch 22 almost of like, yes, I want to be recognized as this thing, but I also don't want to fall into a sea of fish,
Yeah,
with
exactly.
all looking too similar. Um,
Well, yeah, so
Flipping through pages.
our boards. So actually, here is the first part of like yeah, getting ideas and sketching, etc. So this is a part of my when I sketch. Sometimes I sketch in my book. As you can see here, maybe I can you can see my screen.
Ooh, I can press my
Ooh, what's in your sketchbook?
all right, so you had that physical sketchbook that you have there. Oh, and so do you work with a gridded sketchbook?
It's like the dotted paper. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And you feel like you use that because you're using a lot of symmetry and like having to make sure that everything kind of is properly weighted and laid out.
yeah. So I most of the times I try to incorporate symmetry, but actually sometimes when I think I want to draw with my hand, I just use my sketchbook, and most of the times I do it in Illustrator with the brush. It's like this brush, and then here you see it's this thingy. I do like
Oh,
this.
cool. So you'll just go straight digitally.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. When you're working like in your actual physical sketchbook, though, are you normally working with pencil, with pen, with marker? How do you kind of ideate?
Yeah, so I have this. Let me check if I have it here. It's like a pencil, and then it's like really thin, and then you can like do this.
Oh, like the
Mhm.
mechanical,
The
mechanical.
mechanical, yeah, the mechanical thingy.
Very engineering of you to or doctorial to have a connection to
Hmm.
mechanical pencils. I'm the same way, just because like I feel like that's a very designer thing at the same time, and being able to have like complete control and like this is it's basically like using a round no pressure brush on Photoshop,
Hmm.
which I
Yeah.
always do. I'm like, I just want to have the one thing that it does, and then it does that thing, and I can get my ideas on paper.
Yeah. I actually like the when you hold press. I see a lot of people like I don't have a tablet or so or iPad to draw on apps, for example. I think I also want to maybe have it in the future. It would be really cool and also handy because you can export it easily to Illustrator, for example.
Wait, are
But
you
I,
just drawing with a mouse then?
yeah, I don't have
Really?
a Wacom or whatever. Yeah, I just have my
Oh, wow.
mouse here, and then I just yeah, but I do it a lot, so I think it's a bit of a practice. But in the beginning, it really struggling. So also people are like, "Oh, how do you get so like these sketches, etc." It's really hard. But yeah, just
You're like,
practice.
yeah, I was miserable for a little bit. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't have that option when you can hold down your mouse that you can increase the pressure on it. I don't have
Mhm.
that option. So yeah,
No, it makes
it's okay.
things more interesting. Sometimes I mean, you can turn it on and off, but sometimes it makes a piece feel way more emotive just because you have that change in weight. Which of course you have like the stroke adjuster over in Illustrator, but that's all secondary rather than just the initial, you know.
Yeah, I really like that option, by the way, the stroke increase, and also with the width tool. The width tool is really helpful in yeah, in doing some variation with thickness, etc. It's really cool.
Yeah. I think it's really cool here in the brand book that you have that you actually included like a low opacity version of the other concepts that you didn't end up actually going with, and
Oh,
just highlighting the one that you have.
actually, I don't include this in the brand book. This is just like a page for my brand, and then here in the end, this is what I include in my
Oh,
brand
no
book. So
way.
it's just an yeah, I just explain the concept behind it, what I think, and then what it yeah, what it tells the viewer, yeah,
Can we
people.
see some of those other rejected ones, or not rejected, but ones that you rejected yourself?
Yeah, so actually here, this one, I had this sketch and then I just use lines with the pen tool. You can just hold shift, for example, or start with a line and then you want something rotated. Yeah, so this is really beginning stuff. You can, where's it, transform and then rotate. You can set the degrees here,
Mm-hmm.
like here, etc. So this one, I thought it would be cool. Also, Lefant, so you have the little L in here, and then also it's like of documenting things folding into each other. So when I digitalized it in here, I had a lot of lines and increased thickness, and then I simplified it, use the shape builder tool again. Yeah, and then try different things. Like here you see like a bit of cut
Little
into it
cuts.
again. Yeah,
That's a
and
cool little touch. You're doing something that I actually learned through Aaron Droplin. He did like a video on how he creates, and he was like, always copy, always like have a physical like footprint as to where everything was, because you might want to go back to it. And
yeah,
I
yeah.
always have to get into that habit. And when I do, I'm always really happy. But it's cool to see how you literally have it all laid out. Of like, I can see every change you made between each iteration.
Yeah, it's really important because if you do something, and I think you can adjust the number of undo steps in your preference uh, settings in Illustrator. I think it's called here preference, and then you have to look for it. I don't know where it is, but you can look it up. You can adjust the amount of steps you can undo and redo something. So when you do that, it's no problem. But I just want to be sure that every step I do, I can go back to the other concept and yeah, work from that. Because when I want to change something to this one, you just can duplicate it, holding Alt and Shift to yeah horizontally drag it down, and then whatever. For example, here you can use the direct selection tool, click a point, drag it in to have this. So then you have the old one and the new one. You know, so
Right.
yeah,
I love that corner tool, by the way. I use it way too
yeah,
much. Even when I shouldn't. Sometimes I like do it and I'm like, oh no, I should go back in and just do a manual Bezier. But but when I can use it, it's really fun. Do you have a crab down there?
a crab.
He looks like a crab if off to the right. If you go to the right a little bit more.
Oh,
Yeah,
this,
right there.
yeah.
You see him?
Oh,
You
yeah.
see him?
That's why it was rejected. Yeah, I see it now. Okay, yeah,
No, it's
okay. So,
fun though. So you've got little like flips of like a 3D plane kind of going on there, right?
yeah, it was really. I think it was too abstract because what I wanted to achieve here was like a document folded in something, and I want to duplicate it for the symmetry. And also when I showed it to the client, they were like, "Oh, it's maybe like a fox mask or whatever." Yeah, you see here, like
Yeah, they started
ears
like
and
seeing other
yeah,
images through it, and so you were adding obscurity,
yeah,
or like questioning to what you're looking at.
yeah, exactly.
But something that I really admire about just even your work, seeing your process here, is like every single idea has intent, and you aren't ever really just like throwing things and just being like, oh, I guess it looks cool, it's whatever. It seems like everything you make seems to have intention behind it and a thought process that is the foundation of it, which
Yeah,
also goes back to your design process as to how you collect information before you jump in. I think you kind of ideate and come up with an idea before executing. I think that's
yeah,
really
definitely.
admirable.
Yeah, that's yeah, a thing I like to do, because when I just go from scratch and do something, yeah, there's no reasoning or like how do you say it? Uh, Thinking behind something. Yeah, you can do everything. Like you can design a logo in 1 or 10 seconds, for example, and then what does it mean? Or it's just out of nowhere you come up with something. It's not
Yeah.
related to the brand.
Also, Clever saying that it's really useful for you to have the repetition because for the creator, in case that the client comes back and asks for something, and maybe you already explored a similar possibility in sketches that you can pull from,
Yeah, yeah.
which is always neat.
Actually, these are the rejected ones, and now when I showed it to the client, we hopped on another call, and they talked about like maybe you can do something with history, the history of our roots, and they were Arabic, and they wanted to combine something, take inspiration from the Islamic design. So then I just did the whole process over, and then I collected some images from the internet, and then I was like, oh, maybe to my designs I can incorporate like culture, history. I never did that for clients. I always like, with mind mapping, I built connections, etc. But I never looked into like cultural aspects and things. For example, when you do a Japanese thing, yeah, of course you look into culture, because for sushi, etc., it's really normal to dive into that field. So for this client, I did it all over again. I searched for images on the internet, and I came up with like this Islamic design architecture, North African architecture, and that they inspired from that the North African culture, sorry, architecture is inspired from the Islamic architecture. And in here you can see like all these geometrical shapes and stars, rectangles, etc.
It
And
always
also,
blows my mind that they did all this without computers. Like, even if I were to pull it off with a computer, the geometric shapes, like that would take me forever. And then if you say you don't even have access to a computer to do any of this, I tapped out. I can't do it.
yeah, I think yeah, like how in the world do they make this, for example?
How?
It's yeah,
It's remarkable, but it's cool to see that you have that inspiration with it. And then I can also see the connections that you have with these overlapping shapes and the complexity of like the kaleidoscopic lines that you have with one
hmm
another.
and yeah, and the cool part is with Islamic design inspiration is that you can make endless of variations of patterns, because when you have something in a square, you can just duplicate it and then add different colors to gain different variations, etc. And that's also one thing I took inspiration from with the pattern design. So what I now did is I came up with a concept, and it was like called an Umayyad Mosque pattern, etc. And I had to look up YouTube videos because it was really difficult to actually make the grid for this idea. As you can see here, there are a lot of lines.
I just like every time you scroll over, I'm like, oh, that's the last one. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this was the beginning. So actually, you start with the circle. I started with the circle, duplicated it, rotated
Mhm.
it, etc. Then within these um, overlapping lines where there is the, I don't know the
The
English word for
intersection.
it, the intersection. Thank you. You put a line from the middle, and then you have all these lines together. And then when you start from one intersection to the other one on the other end, you can create a rectangle that's rotated. And when these rectangles intersect with each other, then you can again take lines into these intersections.
Wow.
Then you can have a circle, which then gives you the middle circle, and from there, yeah, it got really complicated, and it took me a lot of time to really understand this. And from mathematical point of view, I had to watch a lot of YouTube videos like how they do that, etc. So then I came up with this because I followed like lines, and I also saw from other Umayyad Mosque patterns that you can actually have different variations for the same kind of symbol, because with copyright issues it's really hard to just make something that's not how do you say it, you cannot have the
Referenced
same.
before or created before.
Yeah. So actually, what I saw a lot was that when the lines were continued within the middle, it was too detailed. So I was like, when from larger applications you cannot see it, and it's just too
Hmm.
detailed. So then I just deleted everything in the middle and have this one. And from this one, I just started, as you can see here, I increased the thickness. So you can see the process here. Increase the thickness, and I think these are lines. Yeah, and here it's with outline stroke. So when you, for example, select this one, go to
Mhm.
object, you can go to path and then outline stroke. That will convert your stroke to outlines. You can then use my favorite tool to
That's
um,
when you're using the pencil tool?
yeah,
Or is it the shape builder tool?
shape builder tool. Yeah, no,
Shape
not the
builder.
pencil. So then I had this one, and I was like, oh, so maybe I can also like have a cool pattern design, and it's still related to the brand and the meaning, etc. And then I tried with colors. So with colors, you can have lots of variations. For example, this one, and then you can.
Whoa.
It's really
What
spatial.
am I looking at? That's crazy. It's a cool spiral, and it's like you could, easily, not easily, but you could take that application and put it into like a paper form cutout, and make a really cool design out of that.
Yeah,
But
this one
but
is
it's
actually
all
like,
using the same grid, which is messing with my mind because I'm seeing different shapes now, but they're all the same selection, which
mhm,
is nice.
it gets even more funny. So when I actually put a, as I said before, I saw in the inspiration from the Islamic designs that when you put a rectangle, oh sorry, square around it, you can then duplicate it to form like multiple tiles where you can variate the color in between each tile. So I just yeah, put a square here, then with outline stroke, everything is now ready to use with the shape builder tool. And now you can like fill parts of this, and then you can recolor it. So that's really cool, and it's really easy actually.
Yeah, no,
So I
it's funny. Clever is in the chat saying that math nerds had a lot of fun with creativity back in the day, and it now rings true to you.
yeah, sorry.
Um, but I mean, yeah, it definitely has gotten nice complexity. I like the one on the far right here that has the fills on the outside.
This one,
Feels
yeah.
like a crest or emblem, like a badge that I would have on like a pin or lapel or something.
Yeah. So that's
And the
what
gradients
you
are nice too.
yeah. So what you said before, you can do your favorite thing. So
Hmm.
play this. And actually, what I also discovered is that when you hold Alt and click, you can change the live cornering edges. I think it was
What? I didn't know that was there. That is so exciting. So you hold down Alt and it just inverses it, just switches it
yeah,
out.
and it's you can still continue when you hold Alt and you click again. Then you have this.
Whoa! Wow,
Yeah,
That's a game changer for me. That's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah, I'm like gonna pull up Illustrator on my own, like just see if I can. Like
yeah,
what? That's crazy. How'd you figure that out? Were you just messing around with it and then you just
yeah,
ran into it?
yeah. Messing around with it, and then I hold Control. I didn't do anything with Shift, etc. And then try multiple. What I do with duplicating, and I was accidentally duplicating something, and then I was stumbled on a point, and then when I did Alt, I saw this like this icon. You see here the yeah, I cannot point it, but on my direct selection tool, right here you see this
So like the curve squiggle
yeah,
thing.
curve, yeah, and then you see this. You see all the different yeah, options. It's really cool.
So
This
you're
is
wait,
also
so you tap Alt once.
yeah. So when you click on the white dot, hold
Uh-huh.
Alt. Oh, sorry. First hold Alt, and then you drag it in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hold Alt, click, and drag. And when you want to change it, you hold Alt, click again, and do it. So hold Alt, click, 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 and then you can drag it.
Oh, I see what you mean. Whoa. Okay, so you're holding the Alt and you click. Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And you can do it. Yeah, you can say, wow, that's sick. Good to know. Good to
Yeah.
know. Anyway, I got distracted. We are about an hour in. So we're gonna take a break real quick to do some monkey paws. I'm gonna let you have some off camera time that you can relax. And then we'll do some Inktober, and then we'll be right back. So we'll be back with you in just a few minutes. So have a nice break. We're gonna do monkey paws. So we're gonna do some monkey paws, especially because we're having some cramping in the chat. Apparently, I saw that Clever over there said cramp. And if you guys aren't familiar, monkey paws is just a fun little exercise that we can do every once in a while to make sure that we are taking care of our wrists and our hands, and we don't want to have carpal tunnel. And if you lose your hands, you're gonna have a hard time. You're gonna have a little bit of a buffer time before you can get back into designing or illustrating or painting or what have you. So all we're gonna do is you're gonna take your hands, you're gonna put them towards the camera, towards the screen, towards whatever you're watching me on, and you're gonna go and you're gonna bring in your hands like this and go ooh ah ah. You're gonna hold. As we always say, that the noises are incredibly important. If you don't make the noises, it's not gonna work. So bring it in, make the noises, then let go. Bring them down like this, like a little like creep, like Thriller, like October going on. And then you're gonna bring in the fingers again. Ooh, ah, ah. You'll be able to feel a little bit. If it hurts at all, stop. You don't wanna hurt yourself in any way. But you want to go and you're gonna hold it for a second or so. You can release. The third exercise we're gonna do is you're gonna flip them on out. Here, I give my monkey paws to you. And you go and you're gonna bring in the fingers one more time. And ooh, ah, ooh, depending on how you feel, where you're from in the world. And actually, did you know that in different parts of the world, like they say that animals say different stuff? Like cows going moo is an American thing. I don't know what they say in other countries, but I've like heard different ones before. Um, and it's crazy. Like they still kind of follow the same thing, but there's different cultures for it. I digress though. So what we do? We did 1, 2, 3, 4. And then that's a lie. Did I just send? Did I just pass out misinformation? I read it, but who knows? It could be real. Animals have accents, says Oliver. Umagrid says boo in Dutch, which I don't know if she's messing with me or if that's actually true. But the last one you're gonna do is you're gonna bring them towards you, and you're going to bring in your hands and ooh, ah, ah, and hold it like that. I always feel that one in the wrist right here. So shake it all up. If you need to stand up, do some jiggles, get some water, take a bathroom break, you do that. But we're just going to do it one more time through. So go 1, release, go down like this, and go 1, and hold, and release, bring it out, hold, release, like that, hold, and release. We're going to shake it up, and we're going to say, Alexa, tell me a joke about monkeys. Why do primates make great athletes? They're born champions. So take that with what you will. That's been Monkey Paws. Thank you to Anna Davis Court. Next up, we have a Inktober segment with Caterina Costa. She is a comic artist that I found through the Inktober tag, and she's been doing it for many years. And she walks us through how she's approaching the challenge this year, and we get to look at some of her work and how it's progressed over the years. So check it on out.
Hi, I'm Kate GPG or Caterina Costa. I'm an artist from Italy. I'm doing this challenge because it kind of is the reason why I started making comics. It's my 5th year and I started in 2018. I have this emotional attached to it. It was the thing that made my account grow so much. So I try to do it every year. I'm actually using more than one prompt list because I don't really like the official one. So I'm using 4 different lists and I made my own. So this year I'm working digitally and I know I should be using ink, but since I'm a digital illustrator, I feel like this is more useful for me. The 4th one is my favorite, even though it's the one that less people loved, but it's always like this. When you do something that you really love, it's the one that others can't really get, you know? I like to do everything the day I have to do it, because to me it's a challenge to find a story to tell just during one day. I would describe my art style as constantly evolving because I really like to change and I really like to experiment and explore. So if you look at my art, like 1 year ago was totally different from now. All my inspiration comes from things that happens to me, from my emotions. So I tend to experiment on my style, but without really looking at someone else's art. I mean, there are so many artists that I love, of course, but I can't think of someone that I could call my inspiration. You can find me online searching for kate.gpg or Caterina Costa. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. I'm totally available for freelance. I love doing so much different stuff. I like drawing, but I also like animating and creating videos, whichever project I'm in.
And we're back. And look, a cat found me. Everyone say hello to Roscoe. He is the co-host with the Mostos. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to bring in a selection of different Inktober articles that I had found from today from people all across the internet. And I wanted to see kind of what Lars had to say about each of them. Obviously, they're a little bit more illustrative than the stuff that he does. But it's a cool time of year to find new artists and check out different styles. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to press that segment out. We're going to bring that in, and I'm going to bring Lars back in. So here we go. All right, welcome back. Did you enjoy your break?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, good. Hopefully you can have some time off screen for a second to breathe.
That's my water.
Yeah, so because of the way that it works out, a lot of people post the things that are from like yesterday. So I wanted to look up some Inktober stuff, and Eagle was the one that was the prompt yesterday, and so people are creating Eagle. I just pulled a few ones that like caught my eye while I was scrolling through, and I think that you appreciate this because like this is right here is all traditional. But I think that there's some really cool stuff to break down from it. I like the architecture on the bottom, the moon, or I think it's the moon because you can see the stars at the top in all white. And then interesting color choice with the red, because the red is nowhere present except for the cape and like the weird thing he has to harness the different eagle. Now, I know you're relatively new to doing like design full time, but do you ever do any traditional work with pen and paper of ideas outside of ideating?
Actually, no. I think illustration it's not my thing, and I tried in the beginning.
Uh-huh.
No, I don't have the talent for that.
No, I feel that. I mean, everything has different calls and wants to it. I would kind of argue that you have illustration in your logo designs, but I guess it's a different type of
Yeah,
illustration, you know?
more simplified. But here, I actually like how detailed these wings are, and the shadows is really incredible.
Yeah, the wings are crazy. The repetition of them too, as they kind of go all the way up.
Yeah.
Unicorn's wondering how they got the moon so round. Annika's asking like maybe a compass or something. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure because it's all markers, I believe, too. Because they have like them around the side, and I cropped it a little bit, but yeah. Next up, we have this eagle, which you can see the feathers here on the bottom kind of remind me of some of the images that you have in some of your works with like the partial circle things. And I liked the symmetry of this one a lot. And then I also liked the small tiny dots all on the back to be in like a space kind of vibe.
Yeah, gives you really that nice depth effect. Yeah,
Absolutely nice depth effect. Which is battling that 2D thing, kind of like when you're doing the flip with the 2D, but it was still very clearly not made to feel fully 3D.
I also think like with the head, it's really hard, I think, to orientate it to the left while keeping the other elements or like other parts of the illustration symmetrical. It's really impressive.
without throwing everything off. But like the moon there also kind of goes in an opposite arc, so it almost like counteracts the two visuals for it.
Yeah. Really smart.
This one's nuts. It's crazy.
Ew.
It's like I don't know if she's drooling or what, but she's got this crazy eagle head on, and this is all with ballpoint pen, which blew my mind. So I don't have the patience for that, but I think that was really
I can
cool.
imagine.
But like whatever she's got coming down from her, like from her chin or whatever, she also, like, I don't know if it's on her nose or if that's just the highlight. I don't know what the full story is. It seems gruesome, but I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, it seems cool.
This one was a cool study of kind of skulls, but the way that they handled the lines around for shading, I thought was really unique because they added a lot of depth to it, but it still feels very stylized. It's by Lindsay Robson.
Still fun that when you increase the stripes, you can incorporate like shadow. It's
Yeah, and I feel like you can even include that in iconography as well, because you don't always want to have that straight fill, which a lot of times is great, but then other times this could also be a solution.
Yeah, and it can be really playful because you can increase in the bottom or in the top to give a highlight or whatever.
This one was from a guy that did Micro Whale. I couldn't find what his list was from, but I thought this was really cute and weird. It got a lot going on with hierarchy and in different images that kind of don't exist together, but they do. This is from N. Bodie. Don't ask me what a Micro Whale is, but this is what it is.
Yeah, I really like the wheel actually.
Great. Like these crazy eyes.
Yeah.
So, by the way, I like in your reel when you do like the OK thing and then you zoom through the OK. I think that's really neat.
Yeah.
This is another one for Eagle, but it's from a mechanical artist. So they do like a bunch of ships and stuff, a deep freeze. And this is another one with I don't know where you get the detail and where you get the reference for what you would put on these wings and the mechanics, but I think they're really neat.
Really impressive how all the details.
Yeah, right. Like, where does that even come from? What do you do with that? How do you like? What is that? What is that? Do they know what each hatch is for? Like, they're like, oh yeah, that's where you do the fuel, and that's where they deliver the food, and that's where the gun comes out of. Like, what?
Mind blowing.
Then we have this one, which they combined 3 prompts with Krabby, Eagle, and Nest, and it was just a terrifying witch. But it had a lot of character to it. It reminded me of a scary like kids book. I like the skull poking out from the very bottom.
Oh yeah, I didn't notice that. Yeah, you can see.
Yeah, like it's there. It's just barely. It's there.
Look at these teeth and the tongue, etc. It's so
gruesome. So upsetting. Like, how much? How much would someone have to pay for you if she took like a bite out of an apple and they're like, you have to take a bite out of the same apple? I'd be like, no thanks. Millions of dollars, please.
Don't call me.
Yeah, right. No, right. Ever since 2020, no thank you. And then this is the last one I have. It's for, he did Battober, and it's for Trapped. It's by Sean Willits, and I just really liked the contrast in the black and the white, and the use of the lighting from the window to then kind of cast this cross shadow that adds way more of an idea of 3D on a very 2D otherwise plane, which I thought was cool.
And I think this is all black, right? And like different shades of black.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it would be really hard to actually see the differences in between each different shade. It's really impressive.
Yeah, so it turned out great. But yeah, so that's what I have up for Inktober. Thanks for taking time with me to flip through them. We can always hop back into what we were working on before and see what comes up next.
All right, let's do that.
So where are we now? We're near like the next like color exploration portion of the activation.
Yeah, so I just want to see like what are the good color variations when we go with this concept. So we decided to continue with this concept with the client, and I was trying different things. So with the gradient too, how would it look like on different backgrounds? So here, yeah, this won't work because it's the same color and it would
Ooh, it
fade
feels
away.
like a gold press on like an envelope or something.
Yeah, yeah, it could work actually. And then also I just grabbed this one for example, and then tried a lot of color variations for the field section. Like for example, this one, it's like a whirling around, like kind of thingy. Also here,
Mm-hmm.
and for this one, I just deleted the outer parts. For example, these points here, I deleted that. Looked well, what can we achieve from this? So it's more like, yeah, how do you say it? 6-fold star, or I have no idea how to call it. But I
Right.
wanted to get a pattern for the client. So I just what I said before. I put up a square, and then you can see here that when you have one tile, you can generate a whole consistent pattern design. And actually, the hardest part is that now you can see like repeated tiles, but it would be cooler if you can have something to variate in color in between each tile. But that will be really hard to do, and you have to manually adjust each color. You can go maybe to I think it's called global change, global editing. But I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that will work for each shape because some shapes are the same and just inverted.
I
So I
wonder if
don't
you could
think.
use the repeat grid tool, but I don't know how that would work with lining everything
Yeah,
up.
that. Yeah, yeah. You
You'd
actually
probably have
have
to
to
group it
do that.
out, and then maybe from there you'd be able to. Um, by the way, earlier I forgot to ask. Annika was wondering if you ever use the paint bucket tool.
Yeah, that's really handy. I
Okay.
also got a reel on that one. Yeah. So
Uh,
you can use the paintbook tool maybe here, and then you can easily do the colors. So and then you can use the arrows on your keyboard to switch between your color swatches, and then you can, yeah, pick a color and then click on it, etc. But for this brand, we wanted to keep it simple and have the same color in tiles for the pattern. So this is what we had then, and then we started with the type because that's all, and the fonts and the typeface, etc. So I just start with a font. For example, here it's I don't know what it's called. No, sorry, I spoil everything.
you good?
This one
Spoilers.
this one is called Rexton Light Light. It was too futuristic, too sharp. Yeah, we both didn't like it, and then I started with like lower cases, so you can more convey a feeling of softness into it.
Do you still go through the same typefaces a lot? Like, do you keep like a folder or like a document where you're like, these are the ones that I like for this reason, or do you just do the plain old like click and sort through what you've already have synced or bought or added?
No, I just go plain and then a blanket, and then I go through this list, etc., or Google Fonts, Adobe Fonts, whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
I see what will shoot the most. So and then when I have one font, I just click here. Oh, it's loading. Yeah, create outlines. You can create outlines, and then you can adjust the thickness or the. This is actually within the font, so it's a different font, regular, medium,
Or
etc.
like a variable font or something too.
Yeah, but when you want to manually adjust the thickness of a font, you can create outlines, what I showed just before, and then when you have this, for example, you can go to what I a lot of times do is to go to path and offset path. Yeah, now because it's on a really small scale, so I really zoomed in. For example, when you put like one, and make sure this is 10 because then everything is like uniformly increased.
Mm-hmm.
They can manually increase the thickness or decrease the thickness, whatever. So you can
Make
manipulate
it
it. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
By the way, I forgot to call out. Alessandra said that she really loves the pattern of the previous one that we were looking at with the colors.
Awesome. That's cool to hear. Yeah, really liked it too.
So you're experimenting with different typefaces. You're experimenting with different weights of the typefaces. But then it looks like up here in the second one, you switched to a different style.
Yeah, it's more like a serif kind of typeface, and I researched a bit, like maybe want to incorporate something with Islamic, Arabic, etc. And this is called El Masuri font, and it was an Arabic typeface designed by, I can't recall the name.
Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh, because this typeface, this font has like this small serif, which then fits kind of with the thickness of the
Oh,
of the
okay.
of the,
Yeah.
the lines in here. So I tried to decrease the thickness, but before I did that, within that type, you have this oblique end on the T and also on the A. So I thought it didn't fit this, and then I make a line. I can show it. For example, here also with my one of my brand identity reels. I did it with Sooners. It's called. Just create a line vertically, and then horizontally, and then you can use my favorite tool, shape builder. And
There it
boom.
is. There it is. Because you see what I would do, I would take a rectangle tool and build up the rectangle tool and then use the path finder to then merge the two.
Oh yeah. You can also, there's so many options. Like now also with this direct selection tool, you can just move the point. And then,
Yeah, I mean, there's always a thousand ways to get to the same location. It's just
Mhm.
interesting to see. And like I said, I really do want to start getting more into the shape builder.
Yeah.
Just because I see it so beneficial to people.
Yeah.
What do you got circled around here? You're just kind of calling out the cuts?
Yeah, so when I present it to the client again in a new document, I explain a bit behind. So the explanation is gone here, but I wanted to show it in this way. Like I show what I did here. So from here, I want to do something on these edges, and then I show like, oh, it's changed into straight, and then
Yeah.
I decrease the thickness of it because here's thick, and then here it's thinner. It's hard to see, but if I place it on top of each other, no, of course, it's grouped. So when I place it, you can see. You see, it's a little bit decreased because I wanted to match it with the mark. So yeah, then we had this one. I tried established and this. I didn't like this one, but then from there we did some color variations. Tried different colors together. You can have like a solid mono color or uh, yeah duo color or how you want to call it.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite of those four?
Yeah. What do you think?
You like the top left one?
Yeah.
I
Nice
kind of
job.
I like the bottom left one a lot, and the bottom right.
Yeah.
They feel very financial, but not in a way that makes me like stuffy. Like
Mhm.
it feels elegant, but it also especially with the purple and the orange, I definitely can see like the Islamic tie-ins there. Like I
Yeah.
feel like it can fit in the landscape.
Yeah, and that was also one of the things the clients really liked about it. They were blown away, and then from there on, I was like, it has a story behind the whole design, actually, the whole concept. So yeah, from there we continued with with the system. So I just played with how do you say it, different systems. So we have the primary lookup and then the secondary lookup or the landscape, or how do you want to call it. So here is the um, primary logo, I think, yeah. And then I made sure that every space, that this space is here. So when you apply it on a card or whatever, then make sure that this space is the same as here. So yeah, that you
Yeah.
have a clear white space around.
A nice
design.
buffering around it, so
Yeah.
nothing kissing it and making it too
Mhm.
crammed.
Yeah, exactly. So, and here, yeah, you can see the variations. So I don't like this one. I
Right.
didn't like this one as well. This could work. You also have to keep in mind like the little bit of contrast between the colors. It's really
Right.
hard with color palettes to combine things because yeah, most of the time designers want a color palette that works in every color combination possible, I think.
Right.
That's really one of the
That's
challenges.
not always possible or the best solution, you know.
No, because when you have, for example, a blue or a green and a red, yeah, of course they won't match together, but you can play with the brightness or with the shades, whatever, and then play with it, and you can see like what will work, what will work not, or not work. Sorry.
Right.
And here's the secondary, so the vertical logo. Now also with the colors here, and from there on we came with the scalable identity system. So you have here the primary logo on big applications. This one is for smaller scales, for example, on a business card or a letterhead. This one, for example, on a website, you can also use on t-shirts, whatever. And this one is for really small, applications. So here you can see that I used part of the pattern. Actually, this is the pattern design. This is the official we picked.
Yeah.
And I just put a background, because now in the pattern you have these white spaces, right? So if you put a color behind, you can also get different variations. So if I put a rectangle, you can see the difference. See, you get a
Oh,
whole
like what
different-
gets called out and what disappears.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah. So if I change it,
Patricia in the chat's asking, how long did it take for you to do all this branding?
I think 1.5 months, like
1.5 months.
about 6 to 8 weeks. Yeah.
That does not surprise me. There's so much thought and effort and intention in this.
Yeah.
Nishant says they also see the contrast in between color harmony, which is also a good thing to always call out, just because like it's something that you constantly have to be aware of where it's going to be implemented and where it's going to like have to interact with other colors that are out of your control, which is kind of nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really important.
What's it look like when you put the gold behind there?
Yeah.
Oh, I like it. I like that one. That one feels so much more circular than all the other ones for whatever reason that it calls out. Like,
Yeah, because you get
purple-
different middles in here. Like
yeah,
yeah.
the purple makes it feel way more angular.
Mhm.
But it's also really cool to see how like it all guides you to like zigzag across the composition. That's really neat.
What do you mean exactly?
Like so how you have the diamonds that are now visible through the white. Your eye, at least my eye, kind of goes and does it follows along a zigzag path.
Yeah.
And it's really pretty.
Yeah, so then we had the brand pattern, and then you can see here the tile, so one tile and then it's duplicated.
Mm-hmm.
And from there on, I think we went to the stationary design. So I started with
cool. Cropping, like the cropping.
Which cropping?
To the left, right now, near the tools, right now.
This one
on the old artboard, actually.
Oh, this one. Yeah,
This one,
was an idea for a business card on the side. Yeah, eventually
like just a taste of the logo, but enough that you can recognize it and get some of the intricacies of it.
A little bit of a sneak peek for people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, this, for example, here I looked at the pattern and I was like, what if I select some elements within it and then use it for a poster or advertisement, whatever, because it's part of the brand, so it's a nice brand element that you can consistently use within the system.
Mm-hmm.
So you will see that on later. So here's the business card. I try to elongate this one with a rectangle, so you have like the brand element in it, and then you can adjust the color to get different card variation, for example. So this is the result. Here you can see like letterhead, how I put it in here.
That looks good on letterhead.
Yeah, and also put this brand element in here.
It's a little flair, a little little floral accent to it.
And here, for the envelope design, it's just
envelopes also. I like how it's on the lip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just keep everything consistent.
Ornament.
Yeah. It's also a sneak peek of the pattern. So yeah, so when I had this one, you can see later on that I use this element in a poster, but also we talked about maybe I should give like a bit of a direction on how because I don't design websites or whatever, I can't do that. But what is my take on, for example, the front page of a website? And then I designed this one. So I want it to be really clean and simple, and use the primary color to keep to have that luxury feel to it, and then use part of the pattern here on the sides.
Also, the darkness of the dark purple in the back, you don't see that frequently, and it would be a cool, very recognizable statement.
Yeah, but that was one of the main goals, that they want a color that stands out among all the other competitors, because the color combination I chose for the competitors that we went into, they weren't using this. So yeah. And here you can see a little bit our brand board I put every time for a client. So when they want something to look up codes, for color codes, whatever, it's a short overview, so they know. So they know what to use: primary, secondary, brand mark, Pantone colors, color codes, CMYK, RGB.
And you even came across a copy font too. So you just use source sans for when they want to use like body copy.
Yeah, this is for the body copy, and this is for the headline, and this is then for the type,
the title itself.
Yeah. So yeah, and then for the let me see, for Instagram, I also for most brands I put up like 9 tile thingy, so they have 9 posts to, for example, post on the Instagram story the first time. And then I design a lot of things in Photoshop with textures, with mockups, and put the designs into it. So here you can see like tote bags, the pattern on it, and then the logo, for example, here a texture. Here the website, I adjusted it. I put up a picture from
like a little duotone kind of thing in the background
there. Yeah. For example, here maps, and then office maps, and here like a little that foil, gold foil, to have that elegance in it. A t-shirt, for example, here then a background with the logo, pattern with fabric, and here I think it's called embossed effect.
Oh yeah, with the kind of like the gold leaf to it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So in the end, when I present the final guidelines to the client, I use a lot of mockups and put them in the presentation. So these are some images that I took from the manual. So you can see a little overview of the stationery design. Some of these things.
Briefcase.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, I actually need to put shadow here. Okay. A clock, for example. They first thought it would be a parachute.
Yes, here I made you guys parachutes so you guys can all dive into work every single morning from airplane.
Yeah, a little texture here.
Beautiful.
Phone, and then here, this is what I talked about. Like you remember that this kind of element I put from the brand pattern. So I used it for a poster. I thought it would be really nice to have these little brand elements on it, so people also remember the brand Levancio itself easier.
Yeah, and they're just small geometric shapes that kind of all point towards the center. And kind of give like a chaotic, I don't know,
feel
like a plane going on too, because they feel like they're in front of the purple image, which is nice.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, we've got like about 10-15 minutes left, and I know that you want to talk a little bit about some of the inspiration that you have from other people around the internet. So let's do a little bit of art talk. So first up, we've got Greg Davies, who is on Behance, and you called out specifically the She Sassy.
Yeah.
It's Artisan Bath and Body project. What made you choose this piece?
Especially the whole story behind it. He uses the yin yang elements to build up the concept. It's really simple and simplistic, and also he uses like minimal elements to create something really how do I call it, impactful. Yeah. So with less elements, he creates something that it's really hard when you want to make something simple and easily
So
recognizable.
legible.
Yeah, legible. It's really hard to do that, and also this whole project presentation also is really inspirational. It's when I saw it, I was really like, oh, I also want to make this huge presentation, but he goes far beyond. He goes like into photography, filming, etc. So yeah, was
Yeah, no,
really
I
impressed.
particularly like how the insignia can be stamped into something and it
Yeah,
feels almost like it was half stamped, but that's the full stamp.
so dope. Yeah,
Um, and then yeah, similar to yours as well. I see the breakdown is all very cohesive and thorough. It's nice to see that he's doing attention to size in the same way that you were doing with scalability. Um, and I
yeah,
think that it feels like a very strong soap company
yeah.
that I probably can't afford.
Too
Which is
expensive.
always a good sign.
Yeah, yeah. And also
Uh,
all these colors and everything just looks so, yeah, I don't know, so matched together.
yeah.
Great job.
You also mentioned Runaway Coffee by him as well,
Yeah.
which is another piece. And what drew you to this one?
Especially the illustrations he designed for especially this one. I I have him on Instagram, and in the past I asked him if he was giving away like these cards, and he sent me one from the I think it's from the UK. He sent me this one. I still have it. I don't know where, but I still have one from him. I really like it, like the shadows and the little grainy thing on it, the
Hmm.
colors, the dimensions.
Yeah, do you add much texture to any of your pieces?
Not much, no.
Not much. Yeah.
Only with mock-ups, for example, but yeah, I
Right.
don't do a lot of illustration or like extended big illustrations, etc. So
What else do we have here? Once again, a great way to make your way through all of the pieces. He looks like he's doing video again, which is such a big undertaking for documentation of something.
yeah,
But
I think he does it, sorry, in collaboration with other people, and then he
Mhm.
makes a whole project with other collaborators, or I don't
It
know.
also builds out a good, kind of in the same way that you build out your packets. It builds out a good brand identity and feel of some of the shots that be like, this is the attitude, this is the voice that we want to have,
Yeah, exactly.
which is cool.
And also like within this logotype, the what is it called? Not the RUN, but above the F and the, what is that called? You know, this letter. I don't know the English word for it.
Oh, the W?
W. Sorry, the
Yeah,
W.
yeah.
Is
Are
really
you
fun.
good? W with the crossover itself is really cool.
Yeah. I like it. Yeah.
And it's just enough that it's like towards the center and adds some visual interest, and it also kind of mimics the A with the
same,
crossover of the A, which is cool.
yeah.
Oh, the N, W, and A actually,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. You also had mentioned, I mean, you guys should check out Greg's Behance page. He has it just at, I don't know what it is specifically. Greg Davies Design. He has a bunch of really cool stuff, and those are just two ones that we wanted to call out. But you also mentioned Jeroen van Erden, and you said that you really liked his logos and symbols.
Yeah, especially his storytelling in logos, because with all these simplistic modern marks, there's a story behind it, and I also take a lot of inspiration from him because I really liked the idea of combining and merging different ideas into each other, but still keeping it simple and recognizable and not too detailed.
Yeah, without having to have too many shapes and too many
Yeah.
images, but still being able to grab that brand identity. I really like these circles. They almost kind of remind me in a way of the yacht one that we were looking at earlier from you.
Oh yeah, yeah.
with the
I can see.
speed and the
Yeah.
shapes. Not that I would ever get the two confused, but enough that I can see the two and I can be like, oh, cool, yeah, I can see some inspiration, some crossover. And it's just incredible to see how many of these he can just like bang out and just
Especially that, can you go up and then that bakery with the bread in negative space. I really like that one.
oh yeah, with the three
Yeah.
little like cut-ins. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it's called broodje, and that's in Dutch for bread, like a little bread.
he also works with gradients in a way that doesn't feel gimmicky. It feels very authentic. Like I like the gradient here for the circle as it loops around this, but
Yeah.
then I also like this like non-traditional pink, yellow, green combination, which is a pretty wild gradient.
Mhm.
But I love that darkroom feel.
Yeah,
And then yeah, the forms themselves are also very cool.
definitely.
He has a bunch of different stuff on his Behance if you guys want to check it out. And he also even has a subscription if you want to look into some of his gradients and offerings that he has. But yeah, just I mean, so many logos. It's
Yeah,
just
insane. I think he's
remarkable.
in the industry for quite a while.
Yeah. I mean, that'll do it. But I mean, I'm guessing it's all just through same sort of thing, probably dotted paper, bringing into Illustrator, and then
Mhm.
just being able to create some vectors from it.
Yeah.
And then the very last one you have is Tim Arnold with Voice Magic, which has a really cool, almost like Deezer or what are they called? Like the sound bars to it.
Yeah.
And what drew you to this project?
Especially the concept behind, because within the mark, if you can go up, there's like voice, so you can also see like the V in the concept, but also the M, and then still have that audio element into it. And
Mhm.
also the colors. The colors was one of the things that drew my attention. It's unique. I think I don't have seen anything with the orange and a really dark blue, black shade of blue.
Yeah.
It works really well, and also the orange on the black blue shade.
It
It's really cool.
feels very studious. It feels like
That's all in place. Yeah.
yeah, and then like yeah, the fact that this card over here isn't black, but it's this dark blue, green, gray scenario
Yeah.
going on, and it's paired with being on that direct black. Is a bold choice, and I think it's a cool
Yeah.
identifier.
It stands out.
Um, it has grids as you know with a lot of the ones that you also make. But it's cool to see how it has symmetry to it
Yeah.
and how it's kind of found through the entire piece. And then man rope, which I've never actually heard before,
No?
but looks very pretty. Yeah, no, I need to get better about my typefaces. I know that somebody earlier in the chat was saying that they had the Ubuntu or whatever for a good typeface. Do you have a favorite typeface of your own?
Yeah, especially I like the Shin typeface.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know if you know that one.
Like a Sheen one, yeah.
Yeah, I use it in the Tropolis case, and when you increase of like with increasing the font thickness, then it also gets wider. So you have that bold, but still, when you increase the tracking in between, it gives it that how do you say it? The minimal feeling while still wide. I think is really unique, because if you increase something with thickness and make it big, then it's really strong and in your face, whatever. But if you then also adjust like tracking or kerning in between, then you can give a whole other feeling to it.
Yeah, and it could be nice and quiet, and it can have more than one personality, and it's the same typeface just between different fonts.
Yeah.
Maid Abrami is saying that they like the simple and minimal style of the work. And then yeah, no, I know that now they're even starting to play with variable fonts where you can even go in and you can like go down to like a pixel change, so it's not even the jumps between bold, semi-bold.
Yeah, there's a slider you
Or
can
it's just
adjust.
lighter,
Yeah.
which is so cool
Yeah.
and weird.
I once posted on my story on Instagram, and I had all reactions like people like, "What? How can you do that?" But when you download the Fonderworks, for example, then you have this option to install it, and then within Illustrator you can just slide.
I don't even know how you would program the styling of that, because I feel like the different weights all had individual like attention to detail and spacing and weight, that it's weird to know that you can now just get a typeface that has completely slidable variable weight.
Mhm.
I don't even know how you'd go about doing that.
I have no idea too.
So, but yeah, so we have about like 5 minutes left or so. Was there anything else that you wanted to promote? Do you have anything coming up that you want to talk about? What's next for you after today? What do you have anything cool planned for the rest of the year?
Yeah, so I have finished this one, and then I finished another big project. Can't announce the name yet, but
Mm.
it's really a big project, really cool. It's in the aviation industry.
That's
And
cool.
also I'm working on a project for another client for osteopaths, so that one is also upcoming. So yeah, really exciting things to come. I will show them also on my Instagram. But the part is that I got like maybe 4 or 5 clients that I didn't show already on Instagram, and you just want like an order of
Yeah.
putting the works out. So
To
that's
queue it
also
all
why,
up.
yeah, that's also why I don't post any new works anymore, because when I post it, people think that I want new work. So it's
Right.
a bit controversial. Like, how do I balance this? So for now, I just do like helpful reels for other designers, tips and tricks, etc. And then when I can roll out all the other clients, then yeah.
Yeah. So you're not actively looking for any work right now.
No, I got enough work for this year. I'm closed. So yeah.
Oh, well, congratulations. That's fantastic.
Yes.
It's always like a good problem to have. But also make sure to also block in some time for yourself too, because obviously
Yeah.
you need to have the mental health along with stuff. Do you think you'll continue to create reels and content online, or do you mostly going to pivot towards just working on your brand work?
I think I just still continue to show things that I also did not know about, and when I see something that I think all the designers can help. I really like to help people, so when I show something and I see other people solving things with my tips, then I'm happy. So yeah, I really
Right.
like to continue to do that, and also the branding projects, brand identity projects will also continue.
No, I mean, I definitely benefit from it, and I appreciate it. I have you saved in my little inspiration tutorials folder.
Awesome,
So just know that you are landing in a folder somewhere.
awesome, honored.
But they can follow you over at Dutchley Designs and on Behance. Just as are you just Lars Gal on
Yeah,
Behance? Is that what it is?
yeah, and I just
Um,
put on the under it just designs. Yeah,
Oh, brilliant. So yeah, make sure you guys go and check out his work. It was a pleasure having you on the show today.
yeah,
And it was really nice being able to hear how you go through all this stuff. I mean, like the amount of work that you put into that logo design was remarkable, and it was really cool to kind of feel like we were in your head. So thank you for sharing that. And thanks to the client too for allowing you to show that off and talk
yeah,
about it. And let me know when that website launches, because I want to see which direction they go with. If they go with your recommendation, or if a web developer goes crazy off of your brand guidelines.
yeah. Yeah, it's excited when they will release it. I will just share it and promote it on my Instagram so people can see. And I think also soon after I will, yeah, because I already said like I don't want any new work, but I already showcased this, and then soon after, maybe in the upcoming weeks, I will show the whole thing. For example, in a reel, like brand identity reel, or as a post, like just an overview of all the elements that we went through. But
Right.
also thank you for having me. It was really nice. It was an honor to be here, and yeah, I hope
Yeah.
to give also a little bit of insight to other designers, people, and what's my process and how you go through things, etc. And yeah, keep sharing the tips and tricks.
Yeah. Lots of thanks in the chat from everyone. Everyone seemed to learn a lot and take away from the stream. So it was great having you.
Awesome.
Well, thank you. Have a good one, and we will talk to you soon. That's it for me today, guys. For Offset for today, we have 3 more shows tomorrow. We have I have to pull up my schedule because I think Annika comes on at 9 a.m. Pacific, and or 12 o'clock Eastern if you're here. And then we also have Maria Tokar and Ben Eblin. So we have a wide range of people tomorrow to check out for. Stick around here on Adobe Live to see what's coming up next. The show goes on even when we go offline. I have to check to see what's next. I feel like it's normally like a hawk rattle thing or something. But no, actually, it looks like we are the last of the day. So just hang out and check out some other streamers here on Behance and have a good time. I hope to see you tomorrow, same time, same place. And it'll be our last of the week, and then we can go and relax. Thank you to everyone who was hanging out in chat. Thank you to our mod, Annika. Thanks again to Lars. Take care, guys, and I will talk to you all tomorrow. Thanks for watching. You're still here? It's over. Go home.
Go.